Hello everyone, good evening. Yes, am I audible? Can I have a information and acknowledgement?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining the day one class of security testing program. So before we get started, I'll give a quick review of what we discussed yesterday. So yesterday the focus was completely on understanding the course curriculum that we have designed for security testing, right? And let me, share my screen as well. Okay, so I've started sharing my screen. So we have gone through the course curriculum yesterday. Typically, that explains what I teach in this particular course. And if in case if one of you has missed my session yesterday, it's available here on the website. The day zero demonstration class is made available here. You can go through it. And we have seen what are the key takeaways. We have seen the entire course curriculum, which has been spread across 8 chapters, where we will talk about the top 10 OWASP vulnerabilities and how to attack your applications from OWASP perspective for web applications or mobile apps or RESTful APIs or SOAP APIs, and also a little bit at the source code level and at the network layer as well. Okay. That was the agenda of yesterday's discussion. We just had a quick demonstration of that, followed by so many questions that everyone had, and I have tried my best to answer the questions. So before I start with chapter 1 today, are there any questions that someone has for me? Anyone has questions to me?
Hi, Kiran. This is Lakshmi Srinivas. I know
Yes, hi.
it might be very early to ask even before we jump into the sessions,
Okay.
but I couldn't stop. I searched in the LinkedIn for jobs like what roles can we search while applying for jobs? Like, for example, I searched with penetration tester, security tester, but I didn't find uh, roles at all. Everything I was seeing was about other testing, like automation testing, but not the security testing. Are there any specific keywords that we need to use to search for the either security testing or uh, VAPT or penetration tester roles?
Okay. I mean, that's surprising. The keywords that you have used is obviously correct. So we use for VAPT tester, VAT tester, PT tester, security tester, or cyber security specialist. Um, then we have secure or SOC analyst. You can try SOC. SOC analyst is another one that you can try. That could be something else that might help you. Uh, Try these things and let me know if it still doesn't work. I will try with my LinkedIn profile and see why you're not seeing any results. But the keywords that you have used are pretty much correct only. Try SOC, SOC analyst. That's another one I can suggest you.
Okay, I'll try. But isn't SOC different from penetration tester?
Definitely there is a difference, but you will see some results is what I'm saying. Sometimes under SOC specialist only the expectations could be a PT tester or a ST tester, because sometimes organizations may misuse the terminology while they post a job requirement as well.
Okay. I
Right.
understand HR things. That's
Yeah.
okay. I'll try and I'll keep you posted once I get any results
Yeah.
or not.
Sure, sure. See, in fact, in the organization that I work for or for my customers, though we recruit for security testing, the designations wouldn't be security testing specialist. We give the titles as senior staff engineer, SDET. So SDET is also something that we use even for security testers or performance testers. So ideally, the designations may not be the same for every company. They might change.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Okay.
this course is specifically only for VAPT, right?
This course covers VAPT and PT, penetration testing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So Farheen also has a question: is penetration testing and security testing the same? I would say under security testing, we have vulnerability assessment testing, which is VAT, and PT, which is penetration testing. So penetration testing is a child of security testing. I will say that. But otherwise, in general, people say both are same, meaning someone can refer penetration testing as security testing or vice versa. But if you have to find a difference, the difference is penetration testing comes under security testing. Okay, cool. Those are the questions I have seen and I tried my best to answer. Okay, and feel free to ask me any questions as you get, either on the chat or unmute and can ask me. However, I would like to start with chapter 1. Little bit of theoretical discussions will be there. The focus will be to understand these 2 points at the high level. Okay. So these are common terminologies that we hear in the security testing industry. And we should be aware of what exactly someone means when they say these things. So I'll quickly open my notepad and we'll try to put it on the notepad for the time being. And I will ensure the notes will be shared with all of you once the enrollments are completed. So please don't worry about the notes. My expectation is please listen as much as you can and ask questions as much as you can. So common keywords that we use in security testing. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll increase the font size. So the first thing you hear is, what is a threat? Okay, that is a keyword I would like to talk about, threat. Then you have target. I will say what is a threat here, and this will be target. Let us try to understand what is a target. Target is simple. Whichever application you wanted to test for security testing perspective, or for penetration testing perspective, or for vulnerability assessment perspective, that application under test is called as target. So the definition is simple. It is the application under test which goes through the security testing process. Okay, whether it is, when I say security testing, it is a combination of vulnerability assessment testing and penetration testing. Okay, so when I say, hey, this is the application I'm taking to find the security bugs in it, that application is my target. So I see this website, ishatrainingsolutions.org, and I know the problems in this website from a security perspective. So this website, ishatrainingsolutions.org, becomes my target. So target is the application that you have taken for doing security testing. So it can be, when I say AUT, it can be a web application. It can be an API. It can be a network port. It can be your source code. It can be your mobile app. It can be anything for that matter. Okay, so it is that application under test which is going through your security testing process. Your project is nothing but your This one, target. Am I clear here, guys, on what is a target? I don't see any answers. Any questions, anyone? We can unmute as well. Okay, 2 confirmations on the chat. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about what is a threat in that case. So in manual testing, we use the word bug, we use the word error, we use the word defect, etc. Right? So a bug is typically a deviation between expected result and actual result. Something like when I do addition 5 plus 6, my expected result is 11. But the calculator my developer has developed, it is giving me the answer as 56. That is my actual result, right? Whatever the application is giving, that's actual result. Whatever you are expecting is expected result. So whenever there is a difference between expected result and actual result, because they don't match each other, there is a deviation observed. And that deviation, we call it as bug or we call it as defect. Each company uses different terminologies. I'll use the word bug here. In functional testing, we use the word bug, defect, error, mistake, failure, etc. But in security testing, we don't use the terminology bug. We use the terminology threat. So can I say a bug is equivalent to a threat? On a lighter note, I can say yes. But if you are a real security testing professional, a bug is different, a threat is different. Bug could be a functional bug. Bug could be a cosmetic bug. Bug could be a UI related bug, which may not possess any danger to the end user. Whereas a threat is not a simple bug. It's potentially a dangerous bug that might cause loss of revenue to your organization, loss of reputation to the organization or to the user as well, because it is a threat observed. Right? So let me give a difference here between threat and bug. So I will take Ramu. So Ramu, you're also there on the call. So Ramu says, Kiran, I'm going on a vacation for this Dasara festival. So he wanted to go to his hometown. And Kiran is Ramu's neighbor. So Ramu has locked his main door. He told Kiran, bye-bye, I'll see you after the festival. So he left. I have seen that the windows of his home are still open and he's staying on the first floor, let's say, or on the 5th floor. The windows are still kept open. Now, what can happen when windows of his home are kept open? Maybe a bird can enter and do the shitting around the home. That's a bug I found. And if there is a thief, he can break the grills and he can enter into your home using the windows. That's also a bug because you have opened the doors. But when a thief notices that the windows are kept open, he might have inclination to step into your home. And if that happens, there is a threat. Right? Kiran, who is a neighbor, has seen it. So that's a bug. Kiran is not going to do anything. But if a thief sees it, which is a hacker in our case, he will try to steal the items inside your home by breaking the window glasses or the grills. If not window, maybe you forgot to close the kitchen door. So that could be a threat if a thief observes it. So there is a difference between bug and threat. Bug may not cause any damage to the end user, to the organization, but a threat definitely causes a damage. That damage could be revenue, that damage could be business, the damage could be data theft, the damage could be understanding your business logic and creating a competitive app as well. Okay.
Sorry for
So
the interruption.
yes.
Here, window is bug or threat?
Okay. Window open. If I see that your window is open, Kiran is your neighbor. Kiran cannot try to get into your home because that is not Kiran's intention. So Kiran says that's a bug which Ramu forgot to close. Ramu says, no, Kiran, I know it. I wanted ventilation to always get into my home as per Vastu, so he kept it open. But for Kiran, it is a bug because Kiran knows during festival, everyone locks homes and goes hometown.
Okay.
That is the right time for
Got
a
it,
thief to come into picture, right?
Got it. Here, Kiran is a bug and thief is a threat.
No. Kiran is not a bug. Kiran, observing that window open will be treated as a bug. According to Kiran, it is a bug, you opening the window.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So
Ha.
as a Kiran, he is bug now because he is not doing any damage.
Half. Yeah.
But
So from
Seep
Kiran's
is a threat.
perspective, yeah.
He is a bug. It is not doing any damage.
Because
For
Kiran is
Seep
not
purpose,
exploiting it.
yes. In both the cases, window is same for the thief
Correct.
and for the Kiran.
Correct.
But the way of action is different.
Correct. Now you got it.
Got it.
Right? So a threat cannot be ignored in security testing when you raise it. But if you raise functional bugs in your project, you know, right? Developer may not fix all the functional bugs or UI bugs. He says, Kiran, this is low priority. I will not fix it. And you are like, okay. But if you find a similar bug in security testing, which we call it as a threat, developer cannot ignore it and you cannot leave that threat as it is in open status. You have to chase your developers, your scrum masters or project managers and get a fix for that threat. So now coming to the definition of a threat, I will say it is a potential
Risk.
failure. Yeah, potential risk, I can also say potential risk or failure in the AUT, which can cause data theft or malign the business reputation or business loss or attack on the database or on the server, etc. Like this, I can write so many. Okay. There is another word I'm trying to recollect for threat, but this is still good. Potential risk and failure. Okay, I think that should be okay. Synonyms I can always search later. Okay, so threat is almost like a bug only for a simple understanding, but bug is at a very low level. Threat is at a very high level, very, very dangerous one. So
It
in
should not be
security,
avoided actually. It should not be avoided threat.
correct. So if you find a threat, your job is to chase the developers, get it fixed, help them understand what is the problem, help them understand in reproducing it, and you have to fix it. That's how security testing industry works. So another thing is finding one threat is not easy. Finding a threat is not 5 minutes work. Sometimes it is 1 hour effort. Sometimes it is 1 day effort. Sometimes it is 5 minutes effort. Sometimes it is 1 week, 1 month, 6 months effort also. But if I say bug, you will say, Kiran, show me any application. I'll find a bug in 5 minutes. Because bugs are easy to find. Even a small spelling mistake you find, that's a bug for you, right? Even if you say login spelling LO space GIN. So low space gin, login, that's also a bug. So finding a threat is not that easy. It takes a lot of effort, technically speaking. Okay. And fixing the threat is also not an easy job for developers. They have to get into the code level, see what is the problem they have done. It's not a simple functional fix from their side also. And finding 10 bugs or finding 20 bugs is equivalent to one threat. So if Ramu is a manual tester and he says, Kiran, you know what? I raised 20 bugs. Fantastic job, Ramu. Kiran raises one threat. Kiran is much better than Ramu now. Because one threat itself is telling you how much effort you have to invest to find that in your application. Okay. So therefore, threat means a potential risk you have found in the application under test. Now, what is AUT? It is nothing but target now, right? So I will say it is a potential risk or failure exploited in their target application. So now I'll use the word target. So this target is nothing but the first target. So in the target application, which can cause data theft or malign, which can cause data theft or malign the business reputation, or it can cause business loss or increases the attacks on the database or on the server, etc. So that's what I mean by threat. So we have discussed the two terminologies, what is a threat and what is a target. Any questions until this point? From anyone, any general questions, feel free to ask. Either on the chat or on mute.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Yeah.
Okay. Can I contribute as well? It's
Sorry,
not a
contributes
question.
what?
Can I make a contribution with respect to the threats?
Yes,
based on the
contribution. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
when you say
from security perspective, I am of the view, my understanding is that assuming there is a bug, which is a vulnerability, that threat, which is a security threat, will exploit that vulnerability, which can lead to that business loss. Can we say
correct.
that as well?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We can
Okay.
certainly
Thank you.
contribute to find. Yeah, I think you used a good word, vulnerability. So sometimes people also call a threat as a vulnerability. Okay. Or I will simply write like this. It is a potential risk or failure. In the brackets, I will write the word vulnerability. They are same. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, CVSS. So yesterday I gave you the full form for CVSS. So CVSS typically stands for Common Vulnerability Scoring System. Okay, that is the full form given for CVSS. But what exactly is it? Knowing the full form is not important, but what exactly is that? Okay, now when you find manual bugs in your applications, most of you are coming from functional testing background or development background or similar backgrounds in software engineering. And I'm sure everyone has heard of functional bugs that you have raised in your bug tracking tools like Jira, ServiceNow, or any other one, right? Can anyone tell me, when you find a bug, what are the priorities that you assign to it? What are the severities that you assign to it? Anyone? Okay, I'll take the answer. So when you find a functional bug, you assign P1 priority, P2, P3, P4, or from a severity perspective, you say S1, S2, S3, S4. Right? I'm sure you all understand, right? The priorities and severities for functional bugs. Similarly, in the security testing industry, we don't talk at a priority and severity level. Of course, we talk about them also, but on a very lighter note. For security vulnerabilities or threats you found, you have to assign a CVSS. So it is typically on a scale of 1 to 10. So CVSS is on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. So if I find a threat and give it the score as 9, CVSS as 9, it means it is a very highly severe threat or a high severe vulnerability like that. So the industry says you should always give it a scoring system on a scale of 1 to 10. And that is your common vulnerability scoring system. So I will say I found a vulnerability which can steal the data from the database. Meaning user data is being stolen and probably sold on the dark web. And that's like against user privacy, right? So in such cases, the score that we give will be 10. If you say, I found a vulnerability where Kiran is able to post a comment on social media on behalf of Farheen. So Farheen says, no, I never posted that comment. But Kiran is the attacker who did that on the social media by disguising in the form of a user called Farheen. So I don't think so that will deserve a score as 10. Maybe I'll say casually it might deserve a score of 5. So CVSS for it will be 5. So based on your understandings slowly into the course, you will understand what can be the CVSS that you can assign. So common vulnerability scoring system helps the developers understand the severity of the threat. Okay, so I'll say CVSS assist the developers in understanding the severity or the impact of the identified threat or vulnerability in the target application. Am I clear for everyone? What is CVSS? Any questions?
Sir, this terminology, it is applicable for all types of security testing, like network security or any other type of security.
Yes, it is applicable for all types. Okay, then we'll talk about CVE. So CVE, as usual, stands for common vulnerabilities and exposures. That's the abbreviation. But CVE is typically a database on the internet which has definitions for every vulnerability found by you and the CVSS that you can assign to that vulnerability, and which applications have gone through that vulnerability in the past and how developers fixed it. Okay, I'll show it practically also. Please don't worry. So I will say CVE, it is a database which contains all the common vulnerabilities and exposures details along with CVSS scoring and which versions of target applications have gone through this vulnerability along with remediations, meaning solutions on how to fix it. So I'll show it practically so you'll understand it. So if I just go to Google and search for CVE database, the very first website you see, cve.org, or if you go to second one, cvedetails.com. So here you see CVSS scoring. So the list of vulnerabilities whose score is between 0 to 1. As of today, we have these many vulnerabilities on the internet, 3,594. That's the database data. And how many vulnerabilities are there in the internet even today, whose vulnerability is identified as 9 or 10? 41,237. So you see that is one range. And you see here, 494 vulnerabilities are created. 825 CV is updated since yesterday. In just one day, you see how many vulnerabilities were detected and updated by the OWASP industry, including the hackers' attempts. You see the last 7 days data, you see the last 30 days data as well. And you see the vulnerabilities that are exploited by hackers. The last 30 days is 13, last 7 days 0, since yesterday 0. And if you come here, vulnerabilities by type and year. So you can just see the graph. 10 years back, 6,000 vulnerabilities, 6,400. 2025, the vulnerabilities found are 34,797 vulnerabilities. Last year, 40,000. We haven't completed this year yet, so it is still at 34. But last year, the internet was attacked 40,303 times by attackers across every application. Right? So, and you see the lot of data here, right? So if I click on any one, right? Hello, yes.
So can you go down? I have a question to ask. I saw something. I saw attack surface, my attack surface. Where is that coming from?
This one.
Yes.
Okay, let me click on this and see. Okay, so this my attack surface typically talks about your login thing. Like you can log in into this application as well and get your details. So this is where you can also contribute the data that you have discovered in your target and update this one. So that is what my attack surface talks about.
Okay.
Okay. So CVE is common vulnerabilities and exposures, typically talks about all the vulnerabilities in the internet. So if you come here, if I just click on by date or by type, let me click on by type on the left side. So I'll come to 2025 year. And so if you talk about SQL injection, so here I see 30. So click on it. And you see, this is one of the vulnerability, CVE, vulnerability ID. Just like you have a bug ID, we have CVE ID. 2025 is the year, and this is a unique ID given, how SQL injection was found. So if you click on it, this is a general knowledge, okay? This is not an attack that I did or you did. Someone did, and they kept the information here. So attackers go through all this data. And in fact, I should go through such data to learn more in the industry. Okay. So this is the website, cvedetails.com, that you have seen. That's about CVE, guys. Then let me talk about the next thing I would like to talk about is vulnerability assessment testing. So vulnerability assessment testing. We know what is a vulnerability. It is a threat that you are finding. So how do you find the threats in the target? Of course, you have to do some automation or you have to do some manual testing and find it. Now, there are certain scanners available in the industry, scanner automation tools. If you use those scanner automation tools, they will scan your source code, they will scan your executable file, they will scan your APIs, they will scan your mobile app, they will scan your web application, they will scan your desktop application, they'll scan your database and identifies the list of threats found by the scanner, which means it works like a Xerox machine. It works like a scanner machine. You don't have to write even one line of code. Use the tool, tell the tool, go to ishatrainingsolutions.org website and scan the website, give me the list of threats that you found automatically. That's a cakewalk for everyone. So that testing, when you do using a scanner based tool, we use the terminology vulnerability assessment testing. So the tool says that, Kiran, I have gone through ishatrainingsolutions.org website and I found one cross-site scripting bug and I found one SQL injection and I found one brute force attacks. The tool is telling me that it found 3 attacks, 3 threats. If I ask the tool, can you show me the proof? It gives you theoretically. When I go to developer and say, you know what, I scanned my application and found 3 threats. If developer believes you on the tool, he will say, okay, I will go to the code and I'll try to fix it. That's where vulnerability assessment testing ends. So what is vulnerability assessment testing? It is a process where we scan the target application using an automated tool. I would use the word scanner tool. Using an automated scanner tool to identify the potential threats or vulnerabilities. Okay, it is a process where we scan the target application using an automated scanner tool to identify the potential threats or vulnerabilities.
పెంచినట్టున్నాడు రిక్వెస్ట్ మార్నింగ్ టైంలో
Guys, go on mute. I think you're speaking to someone else. Here, we do not show any evidence of threats and their possible attacks on the target application. So remember the second point. If the developer says, can you show me a proof that database theft will happen? You will say, no, I cannot show the proof because I just used a scanner tool and the scanner tool identified this list of issues or threats in the application. So which are the tools that we use for vulnerability assessment to testing? So there are so many tools. You have a tool called Zap. You have a tool called Burp Suite. You have a tool called Nmap. You have a tool called ZenMap. You have a tool called Nexus. You have a tool called Wookie. You have a tool called Yazini, etc. There are so many tools in the market that we use. Hundreds of tools are there in the market which does vulnerability assessment testing. So think of vulnerability assessment testing as I go to a doctor and say, hey, doctor, this is the problem I have. And the doctor says, okay, Kiran, let's go through a typical scanning process, get the scanning report, and then I will tell you what is the problem. Right? So doctor is not doing anything. He simply says, go to a diagnostic center, get your scan done, show me the report. I will tell you what is the medication you have to do. So I have to trust the scanner and the report generated by it. If I tell the doctor, show me the proof that this is what is there in my body, doctor says, okay, then I have to operate you, take a picture, and then show it to you. Right? So that process of you getting the scanning done is called as vulnerability assessment testing. Any questions, guys, on what is vulnerability assessment testing and the points I have written here? Any questions from anyone? So I'll assume we are doing good until now, and you guys have some clarity. Okay, then the next one would be, okay, I see a message on the chat. Okay, Malvin says, well explained, thank you. Let's go to the penetration testing. Now, PT is an extension of vulnerability assessment testing. What is the problem with vulnerability assessment testing? You are not showing any evidences. Now, the developer comes and says, Kiran, every time I release a build, you say that SQL injection is possible, cross-site scripting is possible, or JWT tokens attack is possible. Can you please prove it so that I know that this vulnerability really exists? To prove your vulnerability, to show the existence of that problem, whatever effort you do, that's called as penetration testing, which means you will use some malicious payloads or you will supply some test data into the application that goes into the server, that goes into the database and shows an evidence to the developer that here is the problem. Just like when I go to the doctor and say, doctor, I don't think so. The scanner, the machine that you used and the scanning report is correct. So doctor said, Kiran, you have some cholesterol and the scanning report says the same. And I feel, no, I do exercise every day. I go for 30 minutes walking every day. I walk almost every day whenever I have to buy some groceries for my home. So why will I have cholesterol? I think your scanner is not correct. The doctor says, okay, Kiran, let's operate and show you evidence that you have that cholesterol or fat inside your body. That's called penetration testing because he's showing me proof now, which means he has to cut your skin and then find the fat, take pictures, remove it, and then show it after stitches are done. Right? Similarly, in penetration testing, you provide evidences that this is the reason why cross-site scripting is possible, or I will practically prove it. When I do this attack on your application in the front end, in the back end, in the database, you see how your server is responding with errors. So what is PT? It is an extension of VAT. What is VAT? Vulnerability assessment testing. Okay, VAT, I'll use the word. So it is an extension of VAT. Here, we exploit the target application by using malicious payloads. What is a payload? Nothing but request body, request data that you supply to the server from client. So here we exploit the target application by using malicious payloads, trying to prove the existence of threat, meaning vulnerability, and how it impacts the end user experience. So you are really proving it, right? See, yesterday was a demo class. I was just going through the course content and telling you, I teach this, I teach that, I teach this, I teach that. That is vulnerability assessment testing. Today, I'm not doing demo. Today, I've started with chapter 1. So you get to know today how Kiran teaches, whether his English is correct, whether he's copying something and typing or he's typing as he speaks. Meaning, is he talking about his real-time experience or he's reading in Google ChatGPT and coming and explain, right? You can make all those decisions. And I'm proving the knowledge here and I'm proving to you what is what slowly. Maybe on day 5, day 10, I will show you how to exploit cross-site scripting. So practically when I show something, that's called penetration testing. Okay. To do vulnerability assessment to testing, you don't need any approvals. It is easy process. To do penetration testing, you need approvals from the management. You cannot say, okay, Kiran, I will do penetration testing in my project. If I'm your manager, I should approve it first. Because you are using malicious payloads. And one payload may not exploit the application. You have to try second time, third time, 1,000 times, 1,00,000 times you might have to try. Every time you try, you are inserting data in the database and your database size is increasing. That impacts the performance of your application. Manual testers will start complaining the application is very slow. So someone has to go into DB and clean up the data. Therefore, penetration testing process requires approvals from your project managers or test managers or delivery managers or from the client. Penetration testing is an expensive activity. Vulnerability assessment testing is not an expensive activity because vulnerability assessment can be completed probably in 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 30 minutes. Penetration testing is an effort that takes sometimes 1 month, 5 months, or 6 months. If you're lucky, 1 hour also. Depends on your technical skills, your luck factors, the tool that you are using, the payload that you are using. That's penetration testing for you. Finally, we have a word called security testing here. So let me write here, what is a security? I will say security testing is nothing but vulnerability assessment to testing plus penetration testing. That's it. So what is this course? Security testing course, which means am I teaching VAT? Yes. Am I teaching PT? Yes. So when I say security testing, when someone says security testing, tell them it is a combination of vulnerability assessment testing and penetration testing. Then explain what is VAT and explain what is PT. Okay, with this, we have just completed point 1 in my chapter 1. Okay, I will take a pause here for some time. I want everyone to please tell me. Guys, I want everyone to speak up and say something. Do you have questions? Anything in general? Okay, I see no questions from Lakshmi Srinivas, Amilkar. And I assume the remaining folks are also okay. There is one more keyword I want to use, OWASP. And that should be the last one for today. what is OWASP? So OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Testing Project. That's the abbreviation. And it is an industry body that helps developers, testers, and also DevOps engineers on how to develop your application from a security perspective, how to test the applications from a security testing perspective, how to deploy your applications from a security testing perspective so that you safeguard your projects. Okay. It is an industry body that governs and assists in ensuring our applications, our developed applications are secured from attacks. So whenever we talk about security testing, people say, is it OWASP security testing? So you have to pronounce this as OWASP. Definitely, when I say security testing, I always mean OWASP security testing. This is the industry body that I follow. Not only I, the industry follows it. Almost every country you take anywhere on this globe, every organization follows OWASP standards. There are some other standards also, but this is much important than anyone else. Okay, so these are the 8 terminologies that you should be aware of if you say you know a little bit of security testing at least. Forget about the practicals. This is something that we should be aware of. With this, we have completed just the first point of chapter 1. Tomorrow, I will talk about the list of vulnerabilities, which I have explained here. So I will explain them at a high level, okay, not into practicals. First, you should understand theoretically. You will fall in love as I explain. And how to do it, we'll do it slowly as well. Okay. So tomorrow I'm telling you, I'm going to explain the vulnerabilities under OWASP theoretically. Chapter 2 onwards will be practicals. So before we conclude the session today on day 1 of training, are there any questions that I have from any of you? Any questions in general as well regarding your enrollments? You can always chat to Isha team as well if you have any queries on your enrollments or with regards to the payment.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I could not join yesterday. Is the course 1 week or 2 weeks, if I may ask?
Okay, the course is for 4 weeks.
4 weeks, okay.
Yeah, Monday to Friday, same time.
Okay, 4 weeks, okay. I understand now because I was a little bit confused. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And this time?
Yes, same time.
Okay. 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 Thank you very much. That's my
So, Kwame, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, cool then, guys. I see no more questions. Thank you very much for joining this second day of our training. Hope you enjoyed it. If you think this course is something that you're looking forward to learn, please complete your enrollments. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Guys, take care. Good night. Bye-bye.